Irises are easy to grow, long-lived, relatively carefree perennials. However, bearded irises like these, and other irises that grow from rhizomes like Siberian and Japanese iris, should be divided every 3 to 5 years when flowering begins to decline or the clumps become crowded. This will help keep the irises blooming, as well as to help prevent issues with any iris borer and soft rot that you may have. They can be divided anytime after flowering, with July and August being the best time to do this. This way the plants will have enough time to establish new roots before winter comes. Here we've got some irises that we've already divided, so let's take a look at how to divide irises and then plant them once we're done. When dividing iris, you want to lift the entire clump with either a shovel or a digging fork. So you're just simply going to stick that into the ground underneath the clump of iris that you have and lift that up from the soil. Once you get that clump up, you want to remove as much of the soil as possible. If you have real heavy soils and it's wet, you may need to use a hose to get as much soil off as you can. You'll also want to cut back the leaves to about 1/3 of their original height. This will make the plants a little bit easier to work with, so the leaves aren't hitting you in the face, and it will also help them when you transplant the plants, so they won't be losing as much water while they're getting established. This can be done either after you lift the clump or before it, more of a personal preference. Your iris clumps can either be broken apart by hand, or you can use a knife or pruning shears. If you're using a knife or pruning shears, you want to disinfect those with a 10% bleach solution or sanitizing wipes in between cuts so you're not spreading any disease that may be present. So you're going to take your clump and you're going to start breaking it apart. The rhizomes that you're going to be transplanting should be firm and light colored. Those are indicate that they are healthy. So you can see on this one it's got some dark roots. There's no fan of leaves on here, so this is not a rhizome we'd want to transplant. We'd want to discard this. Here we've got some of the rhizomes that we've divided from our clumps. Right here are some of the rhizomes that we were going to want to keep. So again, these are going to be light colored and firm. They have a nice healthy root system, and again, these roots are light. They have a fan of leaves with at least 4 to 5 leaves on them as well. Here are some other rhizomes. While they do have nice firm rhizomes, they're a little on the small side. They don't have as many leaves as we would like to see on that fan, so they're going to be a little bit smaller, and more than likely you're going to have more than enough rhizomes, so you can probably discard these if you want, or you can plant these, and these are just going to be a little bit delayed in flowering. Here we've got some other rhizomes that we also don't want to keep. So this one has a flowering stalk on it, so this rhizome is done blooming. It's not going to bloom again. You can also see it's got a lot of dead roots on it, so this is something we're going to want to discard. And this rhizome right here, even though it's nice and big and firm, again, it doesn't have any fan of leaves on it, and also the roots on this rhizome are starting to die, so this is also something we're going to want to discard. Here's another example of a rhizome we've dug up that shows what we're trying to do a little bit better. Here you can see we've got this old flower stalk, which again isn't going to flower, and what we're going to do is break off these side rhizomes, and this is what we're going to save to plant. Here we've got a few other examples of some rhizomes we don't want to keep. These are pretty soft. When you're digging these up and dividing them and you stick your thumb in there, you'll definitely know these aren't going to be ones you want to save. They also smell pretty bad as well. So these are, again, aren't rhizomes we're going to discard. Once you have your iris clumps divided, it's time to plant the rhizomes that you're going to keep. To start off with, you want to dig holes about 4 inches deep and place a small mound in the middle of those. This will also be the time if you want to add any amendments to your soil like compost to do that. If you've conducted a soil test and it indicates that you are deficient in anything, this would be a good time to add that stuff as well. So we want to take our rhizomes and place those on top of that mound and have the roots draping off the sides of those down into the soil. Next, we're going to bury our roots in our rhizome slightly. You don't want to bury your rhizome too deeply. You want to leave that slightly exposed because planting too deeply can cause issues with rot. Typically when we're planting irises, we are going to plant them in groups of 3 to 7, often in a kind of a triangular pattern. And we are also typically going to have the fans of leaves all facing the same direction. Once you get your rhizomes planted, you're going to want to water them well to help get them established. Then, come spring, hopefully you will have some iris flowers to enjoy. Thanks for watching, and keep on growing.